I'd like to again welcome you this evening to our lesson. So what we have here, right, we have cos negative x and then minus 180 degrees. Now these, remember, for you to solve this you need your cast diagram. If we can remember our cast diagram, it says all of them are positive in here, only sine is positive there, tan is positive in there, and then cos is positive in there. And then I think we dived deep into this on our last session. 0 degrees and then 90 degrees, 180 degrees. Remember, this is 180 minus theta, this is 180 plus theta here. Then you have 360 degrees. Remember, this is 360 plus theta in here, it is 360 minus theta in here. Okay, that's what we have. Now when you're working with these problems, guys, the first thing that I want you to do is that rewrite this, right? I want you to rewrite cos and then bracket, open the bracket. Okay, then you know what I want you to do, guys? I want you to put a negative outside. I want you to put a negative outside, and then after that I want you to open a bracket. Every good people, remember, we only work with 180 degrees plus or minus theta, we work with 360 degrees plus or minus theta, we work with 90 degrees plus or minus theta. What you can notice from those ones that we work with, all of them, they start with a positive number. They start with a positive number. However, there are two red flags on this question. The first red flag is that there is no positive number, it's a negative 180 instead of positive what, 180. So once you see something like that, it means you are working with a negative angle. That is what is called a negative angle. That is what is called a negative angle, guys. Whenever you see that, remember, we are working with 180 plus or minus theta, 360 plus or minus theta, 90 plus or minus theta. The angles there, they are positive. Okay, the theta is, it could be negative theta, it could be positive theta, but the angle here must be positive. Now the moment you see it is negative like this, we call these negative angles. Okay, we call them negative angles, and today we're gonna deal with them one by one. By the end of the lesson, you must master negative angles. So I'm gonna repeat again. Once you see that you have that, in fact, the first thing you should maybe probably do to make your life a bit more easier, I want you to rewrite whatever you have, but now I want you to start with the angle, because we usually start with the angle like 180, 90 or 360, then we go to the theta, the beta, the x, the what. So here we want to start with this one first. So you're gonna write it first. You're gonna write negative 180 degrees, then you're gonna write the negative x. Okay, that is the first thing you're going to do. Write the angle, don't change the sign, write it as it is. Write negative 180 and then have the minus x. Good. Then what do? The next thing you do is that you're gonna write cos. I want you to write a negative outside, so you're gonna write a negative here. Then you open another bracket. Okay, open another bracket. Good. In that bracket, what are you gonna write? You come here, you're simply going to be doing this. Just come here and say, what is negative times negative? Now we are taking you back to grade 8. Remember, we learned in grade 8 that positive times positive is positive, positive times negative is negative, negative times positive is negative, negative times negative is positive. We fight a lot with my grade 9s this one. So good people, let's understand that you're gonna say negative times negative, it's what? It's positive. So that's what you're gonna write inside there. You're gonna write positive 180 degrees. But we are grown-ups now, guys, we don't really have to write a positive, so we're just gonna write 180 degrees. We know it is there. After that, good people, you're going to say negative times that negative there. What is negative times negative? It's positive. Then you're gonna write positive and then you write the x. That's what you are going to do, guys. That is always the first thing you're going to do once you see that you're working with a negative angle. Then after doing that, you know what you're gonna do now? I want you to understand the following. If there is a negative here, right? If there is a negative here, guys, I can't find a nice card. If there is a negative here and then you are working with cos, if there is a negative here that you took out, because here it's taking out a negative as a common factor. If there is a negative and you are working with cos, right, the answer is gonna be positive, because if like we take it as if we are in the fourth quadrant, that negative there. So now you must just understand, if there is a negative and then you are dealing with cos, you are simply going to write or another way of saying it, by the way, so that we understand. And here you have cos negative 180 plus x. What you simply do, you write the cos again, write this cos. Then I want you to write this angle inside here. I want you to write 180 plus x inside there. Good. You hear what I'm saying? You write the cos, write it as it is, and then take the whole bracket there, take that whole bracket, and then you bring it down. Good. Then where did the negative go? Right, that negative there, if it is cos, it's gonna change to positive here. But if it was sine, you'd put negative. If it was tan, you'd put negative. But as long as it's cos, it's simply gonna be positive here, so you don't have to write it. I hope you understood me. We're gonna do a couple of questions, and then you should get a hang of it. Then once we have this, good people, we are almost there. 180 plus is exactly now what we wanted, because now we have a positive angle. Now we just have to say 180 plus x is in which quadrant? Which quadrant is that, good people? Is it in quadrant 1 or quadrant 2 or quadrant 3 or quadrant 4? Which quadrant is 180 plus x or 180 plus theta? Great, it is in quadrant 3. So if it is in quadrant 3, that is the home for tan. The rest of the other ratios are negative, and here it's cos. That means the answer there should be negative. You understand me? Because in the third quadrant, it's only tan which is positive. So you're gonna have the answer as negative cos, then you say of the acute angle of the x, cos of the x. That is your answer, guys. I saw some answers there, guys. I hope that you understood. So I'm just gonna walk you through again. Remember, once you see something like this, rearrange first. Let me just be putting here to say rearrange. Your rearrangement should make sure that you start with the angle. Even if it has a negative, start with it. Immediately after you do that, take the negative out. Take the negative out, isn't it? Take that negative out. However, then just simply multiply the signs. Okay, multiply those signs, those positives, those negatives, multiply them. Okay, then after you have done that, if you're working with cos, you're gonna have positive. But if you're working with sine or tan, your answer was gonna start with what? With a negative. That's what you must know there. Because we're working with cos, right, we're gonna put our answer here as positive. But if it was tan and sine, we're gonna put negative. But don't forget to write this exactly the way it is inside. Don't forget to do that. And then after that, you locate the quadrant, and then you find the answer. So locate the quadrant, then you find the answer. Find the answer, then you should be good. Right? Any question here? So next question. What if what if we have sine negative theta minus 360 degrees, right? What if we have sine theta minus 360 degrees? How are we gonna solve it? Okay guys, so how do we do this one? Remember, like I said, you are simply going to remember again, we must have it's either 360 degrees plus or minus theta, or have 180 degrees plus or minus theta, or 90 degrees plus or minus theta. So because here we see it as negative, it's a negative angle, but we need to start by rearranging first. So we're gonna write this as sine, then you're gonna write negative 360 degrees, and then you're gonna write the plus theta here, okay, because it's plus here, isn't it? So you're gonna write plus theta. Now what is the next thing we do? I told you that you write sine, you open a bracket, you write a negative, and then you open a bracket. Now you're gonna say, what is negative times negative? That should be positive, so you're gonna have positive 360 degrees. Then you're gonna say, what is negative times positive? That should give you what? Negative. So you're gonna have negative theta there, right? Then from there, good people, remember I said you're gonna write the sign, you're gonna write whatever you have in the brackets inside, you're gonna write it exactly the way it is. However, this negative, it is gonna come here if it is sine and tan, but if it was cos, it was not gonna come. So it's gonna come here because we have a sine. Good. Then we need to finish now. 360 minus theta is which quadrant? Which quadrant is this one, guys? Which quadrant is it? 360 minus theta. It is the fourth quadrant. It's in quadrant number 4. And if we can remember, in quadrant number 4, it is cos only that is positive there, right? So in terms of sine, sine is negative in that quadrant. So what is the first thing we're gonna do? This negative, you're gonna write it outside, but you're gonna open a bracket and say, since we're saying sine is negative in this quadrant, you're gonna write negative, then you write sine of the 360 degrees minus theta. Just don't forget to use your brackets. Then this negative now and that, now they are multiplied because there's a bracket in between. Negative times negative is what? It's positive. So your final answer is gonna be, ooh, sorry, you see the mistake we made there? It is supposed to be what? And get a sine is negative in this quadrant, so the answer is negative sine theta. Not, you don't repeat that again, just say negative sine theta, okay? Then your final answer is gonna be positive sine theta, right? Well done, guys, to those who have positive, and then to those who didn't. I hope you are seeing the light, right? And you're probably gonna get more as we go. Okay, so that is what we do. I'm gonna repeat again to say, first of all, you rearrange. After rearranging, you multiply the negative with the signs. Negative times negative give us positive, just that we don't write it. The negative times positive give us negative. Then from there, this negative, it is gonna come here if you are dealing with sine or tan. But if you are dealing with cos, it's not gonna come. So in this case, it's sine, so we're gonna drop the negative here. Then from there, we have 360 minus, meaning we write this as it is. Then you're going to say now, which quadrant is 360 minus? It's quadrant 4, whereby in quadrant 4 it's only cos, which is positive. So therefore you're gonna say the answer is negative sine theta, but this negative that was outside, don't forget to write it outside. Okay, then it will multiply there, your final answer will be positive. I hope that is clear, guys. Ooh, let's go for more, right? What if I give you tan negative negative alpha, or let's say tan negative a minus 360 degrees. Try to do this one, guys, just for 2 minutes, and then we look at it. So what is the first thing we do? Remember, we need to work with a positive 360 degrees plus or minus theta, 180 degrees plus or minus theta, or 90 degrees plus or minus theta. So here you'll most probably try to rearrange first so that you have minus 360 degrees minus a. Okay, and then from there, remember guys, I said you're gonna write tan, then you write negative outside. Then now you're gonna start. What is negative times negative? That should be positive. So you're gonna have positive 360 degrees. Then you say, what is negative times negative? That should be positive. So you're gonna have positive a. Great. Then from there guys, remember this negative is gonna go down if you're working with tan and sine. Okay, so we're working with tan, so it's gonna go down. Then you're gonna have tan, and then inside there you're gonna have that 360 degrees plus a. Great. Now that you are here, you then say, all right, which quadrant is 360 plus? Right. Now let's go and look at the Cartesian plane, good people. On our Cartesian plane, I believe we remember that this is 360 degrees plus theta here, and then this is 360 degrees minus theta. By the way, in here it can also be 90 minus theta or theta, while in here it can be 90 plus theta, or it could be 180 minus theta, and then here you could have 180 plus theta. Great. Now outside, good people, you have a negative, so I'm gonna write it. Then you say, is tan positive or negative in 360 plus? Well, in 360 plus, remember all of them are positive, so that means yes, indeed tan is positive there, so it's gonna be tan a, and your answer will be negative tan a. Wow. Proud of you guys, most of you got it correct. I don't know why I was expecting a positive one. Okay, that's very nice guys. Let's try to proceed and see if really you can keep up. Now let's just say you are given the following guys: sine sine negative b, right? Sine negative b minus 180 degrees, right? Also 2 minutes, try to find out what's going on there. So the first thing you want to do there, right, remember you're gonna rearrange, right? So this is probably gonna be sine, then you're gonna have negative 180 degrees minus the b. Okay, then from there guys, because you have a negative angle, you're gonna write that negative outside, and then after that you start to multiply. Negative times negative, that should give you positive 180 degrees. Negative times negative, that should give you positive b. Okay, then from there guys, remember I said this negative is gonna go down if you're working with sine or tan. So because in the fourth quadrant, the reason is because in the fourth quadrant, cos is the only one that is positive. So when you see this negative, it's like we're talking about the fourth quadrant. So for sine and tan, the negative is gonna go down, but for cos it's gonna be positive. So you're gonna have negative sine, and then you write this as it is, 180 degrees plus that b there. Then from there, good people, the negative you're gonna write it outside. Then you are going to say this quadrant 180 plus, which quadrant is that? 180 plus, is it quadrant number 1, quadrant number 2, 3, or is it quadrant number 4? So indeed it is in quadrant number 3, and in quadrant number 3 it's only tan which is positive. So in terms of sine is negative in that quadrant. That's why you're going to have negative sine b as your answer there. Then your final answer now is going to be that negative times negative, which gives you positive sine b. So very good there, well done. And that is how you do or handle that. Now we are going to make this a bit more interesting, right? So if you are still not following now guys, I will advise that you try and just revisit those examples we did then. Okay, so what if you simply have sine negative theta? What are you gonna do? Well, if you simply have sine negative theta, just take it as if it is in the fourth quadrant. Like I said, that negative, you're gonna take it out and say this is the answer is gonna be negative sine theta. If you have tan negative theta, take it as if you are in the fourth quadrant, whereby tan is negative, so you simply write tan theta. Okay, but then if you are dealing with cos negative theta, in the fourth quadrant cos is positive, so the answer is going to be positive cos theta. So let's please know these are the basic negative angles, and then the ones we were doing there are the more advanced. So these ones are the simplest one you can get. Okay, now we are going to move to a bit of more complex examples now. When I'm saying more complex, we are going to incorporate co-ratios. So before we go a bit more complex, let's understand the following. Let's revisit co-ratios. Our co-ratios that we have, right, is sine 90. So it's going to be sine 90 degrees minus theta. The second co-ratio is cos 90 degrees minus theta. So what we do is that we call them co-ratios because these ones which involve 90, they change the ratio. If it was sine, it's going to change to what? To cos theta. If it was cos, it's going to change to what? To sine theta. But if it is 90 minus, though, all of the answers are going to be positive. So you can just write positive cos theta, positive sine theta. These are the easy ones that you must know. So for 90 minus, you always write them as you change sine to cos, cos to sine. As simple as that. Now, what about if you had sine 90 plus theta? Right. So if you have 90 plus, the sine is still going to change to cos. Okay, but then you're going to say 90 plus, you must know that it is actually the second quadrant. 90 plus theta, it is in the second quadrant, whereby it's only sine which is positive, the rest are negative. So because we do see sine here, the answer is also gonna be positive. You focus on the sign that is here, not to say that you have cos, so now it should be negative because cos is negative in there. No. You focus on the one that is here. It is in the second quadrant, so you're gonna have a positive answer. If you were to have cos 90 degrees plus theta, the first thing is that because you are working with a 90, the cos is gonna change to what? It's gonna change to sine theta. However, the answer is gonna be negative because cos is negative in this quadrant. So you must put your answer as negative sine theta. Okay? So I hope that we understand, guys. Those are our core ratios. These things can also be expressed in other letters. It was not going to change anything. For example, someone can just come with sine 90 minus x. It doesn't change. The fact that is 90 minus there, sine is going to change to cos, so you're going to have cos x, but it's going to be positive because 90 minus, it is in this quadrant, all of them are positive, so you don't have to worry, just positive. If you have cos 90 minus x, then you are going to also have positive sine x. Cos is going to change to sine, very important. But then if you happen to have sine 90 plus x, do remember that sine will change to cos, so you must have cos x there, and it will be positive because 90 plus sine is positive. And then if you have cos 90 plus x, that cos is going to change to sine. However, don't forget to put negative because cos is negative in that quadrant. I hope that is clear. So please do take note of this, because we might probably use it in the more complex examples we are going to, right, for negative angles. So in terms of complex examples, what are we saying? The first one, let's just say you have cos minus x minus 90 degrees. Oof. How do you work with that? Right? How do you work with that? So the procedure is not really gonna change. The fact that you have negative 90 degrees, it means you're working with a negative angle. So you might want to start first by rearranging so that you have negative 90 degrees minus x. Right. Then from there, what are we gonna do? Remember, you're gonna write cos, then you're gonna write the negative outside. Then you say negative times negative is positive, so you're gonna have positive 90, and then negative times negative is positive, so you're gonna have positive x. Right. Then now remember, he said this negative, if you are dealing with cos, it's not gonna go down, but if it was tan or sine, it was gonna go down here. So in this case, it's not gonna go down. You're just gonna write cos, and then you write whatever is in there. So you write the 90 degrees plus x. Right. And then now that you have this, now the next thing is to ask yourself, which quadrant is this? Remember that 90 plus is quadrant number 2. Right? 90 plus is quadrant number 2, which is this one. It's quadrant number 2, and in there it's only sign which is positive. So because of that, and you are dealing with cos, the answer should have a negative. However, good people, I cannot write negative cos x. That would be wrong because I'm dealing with a 90. So the cos should change to what? To sine. Then your answer would be this. So very, very important there to take note of that. Okay, to take note of the fact that now the negative didn't go down here because we're dealing with a cos. However, this is the second quadrant, so the answer should be negative because cos is negative in that quadrant. However, do not forget that because there is a 90, the cos must change to sine. That is why we're saying these are a bit more complex examples. So you might want to be very careful when you're working with them. Try this one, guys. Sine A minus 90 degrees. Try to get the answer to this one. 2 minutes. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna want to do here, guys, remember you have negative 90. That's a negative angle. You might probably wanna rearrange first. So you're gonna have negative 90 degrees, and then my 90 looks bad. 90 plus A. Right. Then now the first thing you would wanna do there, guys, is to remove this negative. So remember, like we were always doing, you just write the negative outside. Then you say, now what is negative times negative? That's positive. So you're gonna have positive 90. What is negative times positive? Is negative. So you're gonna have minus there. Right. Then remember, we said this negative is gonna go down if you are working with sine or tan. So here you're gonna have negative, then you write sine, and then you're gonna have the 90 minus A. Right. Now, good people, which quadrant is 90 minus A? This is quadrant number 1, isn't it? Quadrant number 1, whereby all of them are positive. So it means the negative is gonna go down, right? However, the answer is gonna be positive because all of them are like in the brackets, the answer is gonna be positive because they are positive in the first quadrant. But remember, there is a 90 there, so sine must change to cos. So you're gonna have cos A. Then when you say negative times positive, it's gonna be negative cos A. So your answer is negative. I think 4 people wrote negative. Well done, guys. Well done. So I hope we are following each other. The reason why here, guys, I have a positive is because sine is positive in the first quadrant. So hence I have the positive. If we check the previous question, remember, the reason why here I have this negative is because cos was negative, is negative in this quadrant, you see. So hence I put negative. Obviously, the plus here, obviously we said the negative doesn't go down here, isn't it? So you can still write plus if you want. You can write plus and then put brackets there, but it will still give you negative sine x. Okay, so you must just be careful of your sign there. Right, let's try this one, guys. Let's say you have cos minus, did we do that? Hope we don't repeat. Yeah, it felt like I'm repeating something. Cos b minus 90 degrees. Please try this one out, guys. 2 minutes and then we'll work on it. Okay, I'm happy that you tried that one out. So now what do we do there, guys? Remember, you need to rearrange first. So you probably have negative 90 degrees and then plus b. Then from there, guys, you are going to write this as cos, then you're gonna have a negative, then you're gonna say now what is negative times negative is positive, so you're gonna have positive 90 degrees, and what is negative times positive is negative, so you're gonna have that. Then from there, good people, since here we have a negative and you are dealing with cos, that negative is not gonna go, so you're just gonna have positive cos, and then you're gonna have that 90 minus b. Okay, right, and then now which quadrant is this? Remember, this should be in quadrant number 1, and in quadrant number 1 all of them are positive. Okay, so your answer there now, the positive is outside. The answer for cos now is gonna be positive 2, because it's positive because it's in quadrant number 1, so you're gonna have positive. However, because there is a 90 there, cos will change to what? Sine, then you'll have the b. So positive times positive is still positive. Your final answer is sine b. Right.